Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast, where you'll be not only allowed, but encouraged to dream big dreams and imagine the very best future for yourself and your family. Throw away expectations and perfection and embrace the messy beauty of what it means to be a marvelous mom. I'm your host, Kirsten Tyrell, and I can't wait to help you discover what makes you marvelous. Hey everybody, welcome to another marvelous episode of the Marvelous Moms podcast. I have a wonderful guest today. She is a really great friend of mine and somebody that I've been blessed to be able to know over the last 3 years or something close to that. Steffanie Wing is AKA that Undercover unicorn. She is on a mission to help moms with postpartum depression, among other things. And you guys, you get to hear her backstory today, and you get to hear how truly magical she is. Because with the unicorn in there, you know that you're going to get something spectacular. So thanks for being here, Steffanie. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. And I super appreciate that. I'm like, okay, now the pressure's on to bring the magic, but I have it. So here it comes.
That's called, we know this, it's intention setting. It's like, yes, this is what you guys are here for. We're preparing you for it. Because if you're not prepared, you might be like, wait, why didn't they tell us this was going to be such a great episode? Why didn't they warn me that I was going to feel so inspired and so connected? So we're just letting them know what they're in for. So backstory a little bit on, or not even backstory yet, just a little bit of a current situation. How many kids you have, ages, stages, what's a day in the life of Steffanie like?
Yeah, so I have a 6-year-old boy who just started first grade and a 2-year-old little girl who needs all of mom all the time. And she's super sweet and I love her. But so I usually start my day, people call me crazy, but we'll get to this point in a minute. But I usually start my day at 4 a.m. getting ready for the gym, and I'm at the gym by 5. It's not always perfect, but I got to stick to it. If it doesn't, if I don't go at 5, it doesn't happen. But so I usually do 5 a.m. and then I'll sit in my car and pray, meditate, and work for an hour and really try to set an intention for my day. And people call me crazy, but I've come quite a ways to get to that point too. And I'm really, really excited to be here to talk about it. But other than that, not much else rolls around our lives. I like to be with people and friends. And so I spend a lot of time with friends and I'm just at home with kids. And
you're a mom. You're a marvelous mom. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's what I love too about that routine, which we're going to talk about, how that came about and the evolution of Steffanie. But what people don't understand is, everybody kind of wants to have it all. They want to be it all. They want to be an awesome mom and run a business, or be an awesome mom and still have an identity and feel like they can work out and feel like they can take care of themselves. But it's kind of like when people say I'd give anything to be able to play piano like that, or I'd give anything to be able to write a book. But it's would you really? And so I think that's just it's evidence that you really are willing to do whatever it takes to build the life that you want to build. And right now it comes in the form of a 4 a.m. wake up call. And how many people would be willing to do that? If you're saying everybody tells you it's crazy, you're probably on the other end of this. It's never easy to wake up at 4 a.m., but what you're getting in return, and how happy you've become. And you're like, man, I wish people could understand how great this life is. And now you have 100% focus throughout the day to give to your family. And that's how people do it all. That's how they fit it in. They're all given the same amount of hours in a day. You've just figured out how to juice your lime a little bit differently than the rest of us. So
yeah, that's exactly right.
So, okay, let's go into the backstory a little bit of the Undercover unicorn and even just your postpartum depression and why, really how your mission has taken shape and the evolution of your story and kind of, what happened.
Yeah. So, with my first baby, I think I had normal mom baby blues or whatever they call it. Mm-hmm. I think, it's all normal.
Yeah.
We all have the crazy stuff that happens as a mom, and our life totally shifts and changes and everything is new. And I was actually really concerned that I would have postpartum depression with my first. And so I think we were really aware of it and nothing really came about. And everything was great. He was a wonderful baby. And I loved it. Mom life was blissful.
Yeah.
And then I had my second baby when he was about 3. And she was born in December in the middle of the winter. And oh my gosh, so we were in transition of moving, and I lived up a canyon here in Utah. I actually lived in a cabin for almost a year. I lived in this cabin, and we lived like 45 minutes away from family, and it was a really, really hard winter. So constantly had 6 feet of snow like in our driveway that we were shoveling out, and we had this wall that we would park our car into of snow.
Gross.
And so I had my baby in December in the middle of all this crazy winter, and I brought her home, and my husband, he's a business owner. He owns his own business, and he kind of made the decision to not take off work because they were really, really busy at that time. Mm-hmm. So I kind of took it out on him, thinking like, oh, you could be home, but you're not.
You're choosing to leave me.
Yeah, you're choosing to leave me. And so I was just alone a lot in the winter. I couldn't get out. I couldn't go anywhere. And so that's when the depression really set in really hard. Mm-hmm. And we tried to get out and do things, but it was just really, really difficult with the newborn and winter and where I lived and all of that. And it just hit me so super hard. And I remember one day I was driving back up this canyon. It was like every day I had to leave, I'd have to drive up and down this super long canyon. And I had this clear image of me driving off the cliff.
Oh my gosh.
And I just was like, yep, this is the only way. Like, that was in my head that's what I needed to do. And I just remember thinking, like, yeah, that's my solution. Life now. Like, that's the only solution to stop feeling this way. And I didn't say anything to anybody, and I just kind of let those things like kind of overtake me. And a few days, maybe even a week later, I was at home in the middle of the night, and my baby was just crying and crying, and my husband was still asleep, and I'm just trying to like take care of my baby. And that was another part of it too. We couldn't figure out why she was just crying all the time too. Like the doctors were like, she's fine, she's not colicky, and nobody could help us. And so I just felt lost and like totally lost. And that night I had the thought, oh, my husband's gun is here. I like knew where it was.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when it clicked. Like, I have to wake up my husband right now and tell him what thoughts I've been having and what things I've been going through. And as soon as I opened up, he was like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm going to be home. Man. Like, I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. And he would call every day and be like, hey, I'm sending my mom over. Somebody's going to be there with you, Like, as soon as he heard what was going on, he understood. How deep it was. And so from that point, we started to get better and progress. But it kind of, this is going to go in a little bit of a different direction. But I didn't ever seek professional help. And I do wish that I had a lot sooner. Yeah. But I slowly proceeded to get out of it. I joined a company, and I put my efforts and kind of distracted myself that way. And,
which is how we met.
And
right?
then, yes, that's exactly how we met. I'm so, so grateful for that. Like, that definitely changed my world at that point. So it was something that didn't make sense at the time. I had a lot of other things going on, and it didn't make sense to join.
Building a side hustle was not at the top priority list. You're like, I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah. Well, and I'm kind of like a serial entrepreneur, and I have like 5 other side hustles. Like if I have this idea, I go for it and I just shoot for it. And so I had to like sell my son's clothes to earn the money to join this MLM, because I had this really strong feeling that I needed to do it, and totally changed my life and kind of jump started this journey of self-love and appreciation and gratitude for everything that I have. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
Kind of get sidetracked a little bit, but from there, I kind of got out of my depression, but I had pretty intense mom anxiety. Everywhere we went, I was so worried about what my son couldn't be more than a foot away from me. Like if we went to the grocery store, I would never return my cart because I was too afraid to leave my kids in the car, even if it was like 5 feet away from me. I was so afraid of everything. So
That's
anxious all the
interesting.
time.
So
Yeah.
before
And
you judge the mom who didn't return the cart, you don't know why. Like it could seriously be
oh,
something
yes.
as deep as anxiety. So we're not going to shame anybody for not returning their carts anymore.
Exactly. Thank you. And if you ever go to Hobby Lobby, they don't have a cart return. And I literally felt so guilty just parking it right in front of the car next to me. But my anxiety would not let me take it back to the
Yeah.
curb or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of like a different journey that I started, was this mom anxiety of just being worried and afraid and getting these really intense, like anxious feelings that shifted everything I did.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it was irrational, but some of it was coming from a place of like, this is going to sound so weird, but I'm not good enough of a mom to let go.
Yeah.
I really had those thoughts all the time that I'm just like doing a terrible job of being a mom right now, and I can't just let go.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started to, with a lot of your help actually, and I'm so grateful for you. Like, it's funny, we were talking about this earlier, that we joined this company at the same time, and we were both in this company, and you were my mentor with it, and we didn't really talk about the company itself very, very often.
Our calls frequently went to a totally different zone. It was just because
Yeah.
I think that's important for people to know. A lot of times, what you're doing is not the thing, it's why you're doing it, and it's who you need to become because you're doing it. Like that's why I built Side Hustlers Society, because there's so much more to it than just signing up to sell a thing. There's a
Mm-hmm.
reason you came in and it brought you here. There's a reason that you decided to sell products on Etsy. There's a purpose and a fulfillment that you need. And if you can't figure out what that is, and you don't have like the overarching perspective of what this represents and what you need to put into it for it to actually feed you back, then
Mm.
it's kind of for nothing. And it just becomes a time suck and a money suck and an energy suck. But so that's kind of why I think, as a mentor, even in direct sales, and the mentor that I am now, is there's so much more to this, and I want to take you where you're actually meant to go. And it's not just about the stuff, it's about who Steffanie is and why Steffanie needs this and why Steffanie is selling, and that kind of a thing. So yeah, that is the direction we usually went, because I couldn't help myself. That's just the kind of mentor that I have been. Not that I was like telling you to go build other things per se. I was still like a really good leader, but I think that, there's another level, and a lot of people they don't dig down to that level. And you were so coachable. Like, you were so open and receptive, and you were like, I will literally do whatever you tell me to do. And there were times you didn't. Like, you'd come back and be like, okay, in theory I did it, but I didn't really do it. But you got there, and now you're like exploding to where I'm like saying to my husband, Steffanie is going to like blow us all out of the water. Like, you're more consistent than I am. And you are so like focused in on the direction that you're headed, and you've evolved through that over the last few years. But it's been really cool to watch. So sorry, that was like a little bit of me digressing, kind of jumping ahead. But yes, we would not talk
Yeah.
always about the business. We talked about bigger things.
No, I love that so much. And that totally ties into what I was going to say, is just that, we and me and you have talked a lot about this. And you kind of started me on this journey of, we all start to gain this identity like in the womb.
Yeah.
As soon as we can start to hear things, we start to gain this identity. And, our parents teach us and raise us in certain ways, or we have certain experiences or people around us that totally shape our identity. And for some people, that identity might be, the world is awesome, live every day with gratitude, and,
Yeah.
and I'm amazing, and I can do and be whatever I want. And I know these people, like there are these people out there, but for the most part, our parents, bless their hearts, they did an amazing job, right? They did the best they could.
Right.
But they had to keep us alive, and they had to keep, realistic thoughts in our head.
Yes.
And as kids, we had to be and act and look certain ways according to our parents. And a lot of us just haven't grown out of that.
Yep.
And we haven't seen that we we can be different. We can be a different way. And I think a lot of what I got caught up in, and the reasons why maybe I didn't follow through with things that you told me to do, is just I kept getting in my own way.
Yeah.
I kept getting in my own way and seeing that, well, I'm just this person. Like, this is just me, and I'm never going to be big. I'm never going to be somebody who changes a life, or, you know, I can't influence other women because I'm just stuck in this little, like, 10-year-old girl body, you know?
Right. Yep.
I still think and act like her because that's what I think my world is, when it really isn't.
Yeah.
It's really whatever I want it to be and whatever I can shape it into.
So true.
And so having that knowledge really propelled me to learn and just, you know, read and listen to all the things, and just soak it all in and really start to apply it. I had to go through a really long educational phase where I was just
sponging,
listening to all the podcasts,
yep.
and all the books and everything, and I still do. You got to be consistent with that, but then I started to apply it, and I started to see it, and then I started to see it in myself that I was worth something. And
yes.
you know, you've told me that so many times, that like, you're going to be big, you're going to be amazing. I see your potential. And I hear that from other people. It's not like I'm not supported in my life.
Right.
Like, I have people who tell me that I'm awesome and I can be great things or whatever, but I didn't believe it for a really long time.
Yep.
I don't think it matters who tells you that.
No, it does not.
You have to figure it out for yourself.
Okay, seriously though, because Rachel Hollis, Nicole Walters, these are people that anybody is like, tell me what to do and I will do it, and I believe you. And these are women who I admire in this space that we're in, and they have told me, like, you should be doing more. You should be doing bigger things. Like, you are super capable. And I still doubt myself when it's time to actually show up and do the work. It's still like, well, I don't know. Like, maybe everybody's just saying that. But at some point, you realize you have to take stock of, like, there must be something to it. Maybe it's just me. I need to, like, actually step in and see myself through the lens of what everybody else is seeing me through. And it's not like, it's just acceptance in a different way. And it's like embracing your power. And it's finally like just the common sense notion of, there's no reason I shouldn't be great. There's nothing holding me back, really, except for me. So I guess it's time to go be awesome.
That's exactly right. I was just thinking actually earlier today, you know, me and you, we grew up in this church, and we're taught that we are, you know, children of God, and we have a divine purpose, and, you know, we are worth something. But we still let those thoughts totally come in and take us over. Like, this is something we've been told our entire lives.
Yeah.
I don't know that I really believed it. I don't know that I really truly saw it and believed it. And I mean, I had faith that maybe I was supposed to be here, but then at the same time, it wasn't very deep rooted, and I had to go and figure it out myself.
Right.
And not just be told it. So for sure.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like, and then once you step into that, I don't know how this is for you, if you're feeling pretty like things are flowing and things are great. But for me, it's lately just been like, once you make that decision, you kind of have to remake the decision enough times that it becomes a habit to truly see yourself that way and believe in yourself. And now every day when I get up to do my work, it's like the most refreshing thing. I actually spent years feeling like I wasn't enough, or I wasn't doing enough, or that I didn't have anything spectacular. I couldn't like quantify it and say, this is why I'm awesome. And now it's not even like I'm like, this is why you're awesome today, Kirsten. It's like, these are my talents, these are my skills, and if I don't show up and share these, then this whole day will be wasted. Like, whether that's with my children, whether that's with my husband, with my community, you know, with this podcast, with other podcasts I have going on. And it just kind of takes the pressure off a little bit of like, stop trying to decide if you're awesome or not. Once you've made the decision that you are, then every day you show up as that person, and you no longer have to like even fight with that limiting belief that you're not worthy of this, because then you can actually move forward and do the work. When you're stuck in that zone, and everybody hangs out there for so long, I know this because I did too, but when you spend more energy trying to decide if you're worthy or not of an awesome life, then you have no time to go create the life, because you're so busy trying to make sense of that thought. So that being said,
yeah,
you have gone on and started to do the work. Like, you've been doing the work, but a lot of the work, and I think what you kind of touched on is you were a sponge for the knowledge. sometimes people don't realize how much time you really truly have to spend in the development phase and the personal work and like the deep belief system and the mindset stuff to even be able to do the air quotes work, right? Like that stuff is more imperative than you setting up a system or a funnel or whatever it may be.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually something I was really excited to come on and talk about. Is like, I kind of saw self-development and self-help or whatever is just kind of blah or whatnot. But after really getting into it and seeing it is that, you know what? I mean, we all have a purpose here. We all have something to share. We all have a message that needs to like help somebody else. And if we are always doubting and we don't believe in ourselves and we don't believe that what we have is actually of value to help other people, then that's just us wasted here. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that that we're a piece of trash and we're wasteful if we don't do that, but I just think it's so important for us to really find out who we are and what it is we can share, and a lot of us have this drive to sell something or do something, or we feel like there's something bigger than us to do, and we can't figure out what it is. But if we can really go inward and see how amazing we are and what qualities we do have and what awesome things that we have to offer, then we can actually turn that and share it and actually change people's life. I hope this is making sense, but
yeah, it is.
I think it's
you have
so
to start
important.
from the inside out. Like it has to. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And that was something, I was trying to sell makeup is what I was doing. I was trying to sell makeup and never really believing that anybody thought what I was sharing was all that great. And I just wanted to sell this makeup. I just wanted to make the money. I just wanted to be successful. I just wanted to be this person that was doing awesome. I wanted to look like that person who looked like they had it all together. And once I figured out that I'm not that person. First of all, I'm not that person because I'm me, but that I also had more underneath the makeup that I could share. I started going on this journey, and I started to just share little bits and pieces of it, and I got so much amazing feedback from that. And even then, I didn't really see it as all that great.
You're
that
like,
I was actually
this is just a little thing.
Yeah, exactly. But the more I did it and the more I leaned into that, the more I realized so many of us need that. So many of us doubt ourselves and we don't have the confidence. We don't love ourselves. And I know self-love is like a huge hot topic right now, right? Yeah. We have to love ourselves and have self-love and all this.
But there's a reason that's a hot topic because it is so needed. Obviously, we are struggling and we are looking for the answer to that question, or it wouldn't be a hot topic. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm just so glad that so many more people are aware of it and are working on it and want to be better, because as soon as we can tap into that, then we have the confidence and the ability to explode with whatever it is we want to shoot for and share that message with everybody around us and really start to change people's lives.
Right. So in doing that yourself, like, what would you say if there's anybody listening here, and here's the thing, I think I've mentioned this before on other episodes, sometimes you're going to hear something and it's not relevant to you. But if you've seen there's an episode, if you've listened to this episode just to support Steffanie or just because you're an avid listener and you want to hear every single thing that we have to say here on the podcast, this could eventually become relevant to you or somebody you know. There's so many people who are inflicted with postpartum depression and anxiety, and it's enough of a need that we've had quite a few people on here who have kind of discussed this topic. So obviously, even if you're listening and this isn't relevant now, I want you to like kind of ingest this somewhere into the back of your mind and pull it up when needed. So that being said, Steffanie, like, what are some of the things that you highly recommend that are even some of your survival tools? And what are you talking about on social media that's helping women to feel like there's this connection, there's this resource, there's this advocate for me in dealing with postpartum depression and anxiety?
Yeah, right now, actually, on social media, this whole month has been, I hate to give it this like title, but it really has been, and I think it's been awesome to like give awareness, but it's Anxiety August. And I've found a few other accounts too that not really make light of anxiety, but really just kind of show the realness of it, right?
Right.
And we can kind of all like gather around and be strong together with our anxiety when we can laugh about it and give it like a name and like a physical presence, right? And so this whole month I've been just sharing all about anxiety, and a lot of the tips and things for anxiety have to do with being present.
Yeah.
A lot of what we need right now is just less in our lives, less, activities, things to go, places to be, or we need to have less doubt. We need to have less stress. And so what I recommend, number one, is always meditation. And I really come in to love meditation so much. If I don't meditate in a day, I can really feel it, and my anxiety is just way more on that ledge.
Yeah.
I can kind of push it back, with a meditation in the morning. But try a meditation. Try just going on YouTube and finding a meditation. Sometimes you might have to look through a couple of different ones to find like a voice you like, or a topic.
The voice is crucial. I have discovered that myself. I'm like, you're annoying me. I can't listen to your voice right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be so condescending with your calm voice, Lynn,
Yeah, exactly.
Don't point out how stressed out I am, Tony.
Come on, Donna. Oh. But I have found a couple others. One I love, and he's kind of like Australian quiet guy, and I love him. But you can also look for the topic that you might be struggling with. Like, you can look up anxiety meditations, or you can look up sleep meditations if it's causing you to not be able to sleep and all of that. There's also an app called Headspace. It's a really amazing one to just get started with. And that one has been really helpful for me too. Kind of trains you into like what you need to think about.
Right.
And that your thoughts are okay. Like, your thoughts are going to come anyway, but this is just kind of a practice to help you manage them.
And acknowledge that they are coming, but you don't have to like entertain them all the time. Like, they're there. Yeah. It's a natural process, but it doesn't have to be a habit. Like, you can break the habit of overthinking. You can break the habit of those negative thoughts if you can acknowledge them and see that they exist. It sounds weird if you've never meditated before, but you'll almost be able to look at your thoughts as though they're not yours and you're removed from them. And it's like a TV show you're watching, a cartoon character or something. And you're like, you're funny. That's cute. Like, that's not even real. That's just a story that you're making up. And that's how you start to remove yourself and have a little bit more control over how the thoughts affect how you feel. That's my experience anyway. Is that the same kind of experience that you've had?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that took me a really long time actually to get my head around and to practice into that.
Right.
But another thing too, I actually had an awesome interview with a therapist on my Instagram just a week ago. It'll forever be there and be able to have access to. But we talked a lot about her tips and tricks for something that you can do immediately when you have anxiety. And one of them is to journal it, to write it down, to give it a physical presence, kind of like we were talking about, but actually seeing it and writing it out. And then you can you can hold it, you can analyze it, you can say, is this rational? Is this really going to affect me right now? What do I need to do now to take the next step to get out of the fear? Like, do I need to take an action to take care of this? Or is it a real fear that I can actually get around and be okay without thinking about, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
A lot of times we just need to see it to realize what we're thinking isn't real, or that we can take action to take care of it.
Right. Yeah. I love that. I love that a lot. And I think that's helpful too. And you guys, if this is just like, whoop, that's way over my head, and this is an area you haven't leaned into yet, highly recommend. And obviously the reason I love having people on the podcast, and I'm not just spouting off all of my experiences to you, is because we're bringing in other guides. So if this is an area that you want to pursue more, if this is somebody you want to learn from, if you're jiving with Steffanie, this is why you want to go follow her, because these are the conversations that she's having on her social media. These are the programs that she's building out. And it's not, I think you can hear, here's what I want to talk about too. And hopefully this will, I don't know if you need this. I don't know if you need to hear this. I'm your coach. Like, I'm going to tell you. And even if you don't need to hear it, you might need to hear it later. To you specifically, Steffanie, and maybe anybody else listening. You guys, this is, you're welcome.
Everything you tell me, I need to hear. Like, I literally soak in everything that you say. So I'm really excited right now.
What is it? What is it?
Like I'm a kid at Christmas? I'm ready. Yes.
You're the greatest. So I hear that you said a little bit ago, I wanted to just sell makeup. I wanted to sell the makeup because I wanted to make money and I wanted to be something. I wanted to achieve a specific like kind of level or recognition or whatever. And it was all about you, and you wanted to help people. But really at the end of the day, it came all down to like, I need the paycheck. I need to feel like I'm accomplishing something. I need to progress for me. And now everything I see you doing within Undercover Unicorn and you creating this amazing program, you can't not do it because you are so invested in doing it for others. And I don't even know if I've heard you a single time, not on this discussion or in other conversations we've had, talk about, I'm pricing it at this. I think I want to make this from it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have a goal, but I can tell that your energy has shifted to what this is what people need to know. When a side hustle is truly where it needs to be, you need to have the well-being and the service aspect intact far more than you need to have your pricing set and your financial goal. And it's kind of like the result versus the outcome, or wait, the result versus I don't know. I know what the words are, but they're not coming to me right now. The natural result is you are going to make money. You're going to sell something that's going to help people, right? But the goal is to help people. The goal isn't to make the money. I think that's what I'm trying to say. The goal versus the outcome. There's natural things that flow, but I love that you don't have to think about that part because you know what you're doing is that important. And if other people can figure that out, if they can stay in that space of alignment. So when you start to doubt yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, is this okay? Like, is this okay to take money for this? Remember that you are providing something to them and you are truly from a place of authenticity and service and love. You have created this. You have taken your experiences, you've taken your vulnerability, those painful moments, and you have figured out how to help other people avoid the pain. You're saving them the time, you're saving them the discomfort. And that is how you know you're living in your purpose. And maybe that could have happened with makeup, right? Like there's no reason that can't be. But I love that you found your true calling. And I just hope going forward, like you never doubt whether what you've created is valuable because you're the one who gets to decide that. And the people who you're going to help are going to 100% feel that it's valuable because you've created it from a space of service and love. So that was a really long thing to say, a simple thing of like, when you're doing what you're called to do and you're kind of living within that space of alignment, then it really doesn't matter after that because you're going to be totally fulfilled.
Yeah, thank you. I super appreciate that. I mean, I always need to hear that. Every day, like I absolutely know that to be true because that's truly the only reason why I'm doing exactly what I'm doing.
Right.
But every day I still have doubts about what I'm doing. And I feel like this goes for depression, anxiety, for doubt, for anything. Like this goes for everything. Like we're human and we're always going to have these thoughts like come to us. But then it's what we do with them after that really matters, that really changes the way we move forward. And so every day I have those doubts, but then I take action and I move forward. And that's what gives me the confidence to know that what I am sharing is valuable and I have helped people. And the other part about that too is that I did get amazing comments, in the past, but I felt like I wasn't getting like this huge rush of people, right? And that was like, it mattered to me because I was like, oh, well, I'm not that important because I'm not that big influencer or whatever. But when I came back and I really gave those people gratitude and I poured myself into what was here in front of me and what I already had, like that is what helped me propel myself forward to know what more people actually need,
right?
If that makes sense.
Yep.
And so giving it all like gratitude and then taking the action, and then you don't doubt yourself if you just keep moving forward and taking action. Like you are the absolute ideal person for this.
Yeah.
You have ideas and you take action upon them and you just do it, and then you don't doubt yourself, and it gives you all this confidence, and then you are successful because people see your confidence and they see that what you our sharing is valuable.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that. I hope I didn't go off on some random tangent.
No, it's great. We're basically on the same page, and you're just sharing your page and I'm sharing my page, but it's all the same message.
Yeah.
I love it.
And if I can
love you so much.
go back to kind of where this specific journey started, I kind of got off on that.
Yeah.
But going back to what you were saying, I remember the exact moment that shifted everything for me. And I was listening to a training. It was a makeup training. And she just said, this isn't about you. This isn't about your success. This isn't about what you get out of it. It's who you can serve and all the people that you're going to touch along the way. And that shifted everything for me. It totally changed my mindset because I was only focused on what I can be and exactly what you were saying, like what rank can I get to and how many followers can I get. And because we know, you know this about me, but I'm driven by identity. I want to be seen and noticed and heard, and I want to be, you know, the person in the room. That's me. So I will own that. Like that is my identity that I've kind of grown up with, right? And it's what drives me, and I've learned to shift that into a different direction. But having the service mindset of it and really showing the people who do show up gratitude has just propelled me forward 100%.
I love it. I'm so glad. And I'm really grateful for that propeller because what you're doing is important. I know that's important because even just hearing you in the very beginning of the call talk about that thought about like, I'm just got to drive off a cliff. That's the only answer to end this. And I know where my husband's gun is. Like, those are really startling things to hear, but we need to have the resources to be able to combat them. And we need people like you who are out having the conversation about it to normalize it and to make people eliminate the shame with it so they can see what's happening and recognize it. And so that's why I 100% support what you're doing and why I think it was a needed message to have here. And we could talk about it over and over and over again. And I still think it wouldn't be enough because it's just that important, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you being brave enough to share that light and to really look inward. That's a really hard, scary thing to do that a lot of women and I guess just people aren't willing to take the time to acknowledge, what do I have? What have I learned? What have I experienced that I can actually help people with, that I could turn into a tool, make it valuable for other people? How can I do my part here on planet Earth to make humanity a little bit better and stronger? And that takes time. It takes a lot more time than people think to really uncover. And you've done the work, and now you're going to bless other people. So I am so proud of you, and I'm excited for you to share this with more and more and more people because it's important. So thank you for coming on and sharing it here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, where can everybody find you if they want to follow you on social media, if they want to check out what you're doing? Give us all the deets.
Yeah, so I'm mostly on Instagram. That's just where I live. And I'm that undercover unicorn. Don't forget that undercover unicorn. You'll see my pink hair. You'll see the pink feed. You'll see all the pink. And I'm super excited because I've taken everything I've learned in the past couple of years and this journey that I've taken, and I've put it all together in one place, and I'm calling it the Unicorn Guide. You're the first person to hear the name and the announcement. I have put together the Unicorn Guide, and it is launching in September. I'm really, really super excited. So I don't know when this episode's going to air, but
it will be out. You guys can get it. This will be in like October, so they're going to totally have unlimited access to this. It was just so exciting. I'm so excited for you, and I'm excited for everybody to be able to go partake because you put a lot of time and love and effort into this. And I'm excited that you're like, I mean, I know it'll already be out, so this isn't like debuting necessarily, but I really, I think it's wonderful. I think it's marvelous. That's why we're doing it here on Marvelous Moms Club. So good job. I'm excited to keep sharing it because it's important. But all right. Well, girl, you are doing big things, and I can't wait to share more of your journey again at a later time. Who knows where, who knows when, but it's going to happen. I'm here with you for the long haul. You guys, Steffanie is one of the obviously like founding members, new people in the Side Hustler Society because it wouldn't be complete without her. And you've actually done me that favor of you really helped me to evolve as a coach. You've helped me to become who I am as a mentor. And it's practice takes perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but our conversations really helped me to see what I had to offer. And that's something I would tell other people too, is don't discredit your gifts and talents and how they are there to bless other people, because it may seem really obvious and simple to you, but when you start to see that that is not normal and that is an impactful thing and that's your magic, then you have to start doing it more. So I'm grateful that we've come into each other's lives. I've learned things from you, not just from teaching you, but I've actually learned from you. I've been inspired by your example, and that's the power of community. That's the power of building a network of people who inspire you and lift you up. So if you guys are not yet a member, join Side Hustler Society. It's still so new.
Really
it's like
amazing though. It's such an awesome place to be, and there's so many like big hitters in that group too. I love learning from everybody in there. And I mean, obviously have been amazing too, but there's some just like big powerhouses that you've gathered around, that you've networked into your life. So I love it.
And so much more to come, because I don't do anything small. So you want to get in before things get crazy. All right. Well, thank you again, Steffanie. You are marvelous. Oh, my final question. I almost forgot. Like, I've been in shifting gears to full-time family, but this is essential question. What makes you a marvelous mom?
Oh, yeah. It's so funny. I was thinking about this obviously a few days ago, because I know your podcast a little bit. And this morning I was listening to your most recent episode, and she said that she keeps trying, and that was my exact answer. I feel like if we just keep showing up and we just keep doing our best, that's what makes us marvelous. And I really feel like I do that.
You do. You absolutely do. Cool. I love it. Perfect answer. I think it totally represents you, and yeah, you're just the bomb. Guys, go check out Steffanie. Follow her on social. Go be inspired by her greatness. Go be a unicorn, because what else would you be, right? All right. Thanks again, Steffanie, and everybody else.
Thank you, Kirsten.
You bet. Have a marvelous day.
I love ya.
I love you too. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to take action right now, you're feeling inspired and you're feeling enlightened, and you really want to own this role as a marvelous mom, go to the website marvelousmomsclub.com/me and create your own personal Marvelous Moms manifesto. That is a tongue twister. marvelousmomsclub.com/me. You go fill in some great information, and in the end, you'll have a beautiful manifesto to display where only you can see, or the whole family can see, where you can really, really own your role as a marvelous mom and step inside those goals and those ambitions and dreams that you have to become an even more marvelous mom to your beautiful family. So again, marvelousmomsclub.com/me. We will see you over there.